It's good to go. All right, everybody, welcome.
I'm gone for a month. Jesus.
See, it all fell apart, Jeremy. It all fell apart without you.
I knew it. I knew it would. I knew it.
So welcome, everybody. Sunday night, favorite time, favorite place to be. Right here with Global Strangeness. We are a boatload of fucking strangers now to come together every week to discuss everything. Paranormal, spooky, bump in the night, anything that's interesting and weird. We're on it. So we have myself, Debra, Scott. We have an OG in the house, Jeremy. Oh my gosh, thanks for coming back to us. We need you. We're all falling apart, like we said. We have added some team members though. We have Michael and we have Bruce with us. It's been a ton of fun. You're gonna love this group. And this week, I'm super excited because we have a guest, Victoria Jaye, and she is a demon folklorist. Am I getting that right, Victoria?
Yep.
So good old, I mean, I went to Catholic school. I am so spiritual, everything. I've stepped away from, I'm not an active Catholic, but I have a recovering Catholic. There you go. But yeah, I love talking about demons because that's the bad guys.
For sure.
So first of all, do you want to sort of introduce yourself, share on your socials or where we can find you and what you're all about? Explain to everybody.
Sure. So everyone, I'm Victoria. Everything on my socials is under Demon Folklorist. This is Salem, who keeps getting in the screen, my spooky little boy. And yeah, so what I do as a demonic folklorist is I study narratives, experiences, and phenomena of demons and what that's like.
Interesting. So you get people who have had first-hand encounters or possessions, and then you speak to them, or is this just like folklore, like tales, handed down kind of thing?
It's a little bit of both. I started with my thesis from published narratives. And then I went into looking at people's current experiences, although something that happens a lot is people think that if it's negative at all, it's a demon, when really demons are very rare. Having a real demon, that is not something that you will find all over the place, even though paranormal TV and Hollywood tells us they're behind every door. They're just waiting for you to make a mistake or whatever the narrative is at that moment in time. Or like, don't use the Ouija board because it's super dangerous and then the demons are going to come in. So most of my work is just sort of debunking what paranormal TV is telling people.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense.
That's a fun job. But I mean, technically if you're in Canada, then a demon is behind every door. Just saying.
Easy there. We're friendly. We're all friendly over here, even our bad guys.
Hey, the devil's greatest trick is to make you think he doesn't exist. Come on now.
That's true.
Keeping up my secrets. Well, that's really cool. Have you encountered somebody who is possessed? Like, have you seen what you believe to be a authentically possessed person?
I actually tend not to do that sort of thing because that's why I don't call myself a demonologist. Because I don't do what demonologists do. I don't go into these places. I'm actually way too psychic for that. And it would just affect me and make me sick. So I wouldn't be able to help. So I just do the research portion of it instead. But I have come across a person who was actually possessed because it was me. That's how I got into this. But it was not demonic.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. I think we need to hear a little bit more about that.
We definitely need to hear about that, Victoria.
Yeah,
sure.
if it wasn't demonic, what the fuck was it? Because what the hell else exists?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what it was. I'm still working on that because there was a girl from Costa Rica who'd reached out after my thesis and was like, hey, I had something really similar happen. And I had 2 questions for her because I'd kind of narrowed it down to some of these factors of what had happened to me. And I was like, hey, did you have mirrors pointed at your bed? And she was like, yeah, I did actually. Are you psychic at all? She's like, yeah, a little bit. So I think it has something to do with that. I can't prove it yet. That'll take a lot more work, but I think it was either.
We're glossing over mirrors at butts here and what the hell that means.
So mirrors are thought to be portals.
Yeah, that part I know.
In the occult. So I'm not sure exactly how it connects. I just know that I had a mirror pointed at my bed for years upon years and didn't think anything of it. So
Bed. I thought you said butt, like B-U-T-T.
oh,
I'm like, I was like, I swear to God, that's what I heard. And I was like, wait a minute, what now?
Jeremy.
I'm like, is this a scene? Is this a scene from that Seth Rogen movie? Like, what the?
nope.
Hey, back in the 80s, I think I had some mirrors above my bed.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I am so sorry for our podcast group here.
I felt possessed on occasion,
You know,
but I don't think the same way.
A mirror above your bed will do that.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
well, that's
maybe.
But
So-
yeah, okay.
So do you-
Bed.
do
so
you
you're
ever-
like,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Bruce. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so do you ever, I noticed on your Facebook page, it talked about you more as being a researcher. You're not an exorcist, you're a researcher. So have you looked into, some of the more famous cases like Annalise, things like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I looked into Annalise Michelle for a article that I did for American Paranormal magazine. And I don't believe that one was a demon, actually. I think that might have been a jinn.
So that's what I was going to ask, because, there was the trial, the parents got put on trial, the exorcist got put on trial, everybody got put on trial. But you think it was a jinn?
It didn't come out when it was bade to, because demons always follow the authority of the church, of God, of all of those sorts of things, but ultimately it is of God. When they would say, like, in the name of God, or however they would put it. I'm not an expert on exorcism exactly. That's not my research area. It wouldn't come out. It stopped coming out, and her phenomena was not strong enough or intense enough to make me go, yeah, that's a demon.
Right.
So I started to wonder what else it would be, but it's sort of like with exorcism, if it's not what you think it is, exorcism's not going to help, at least not in that way. Maybe reading the Quran would have helped a lot more.
Ah, gotcha. Interesting.
Okay, well, first things first. I had an author on my show, on the third episode of my show, that I would love to connect you with, because she is writing I guess a kind of a young adult series about a medium that fights demons with a priest and angels and more. It's more than that, but
That's awesome.
she's currently, I think, writing the 4th or 5th book and editing her 3rd book still. She might be able to use you for some demon folklore throwing in and whatnot. I gotta introduce you to, but
Yeah, send me her links.
I just read the beta for 2nd book because she wanted me to read it before it came out to make sure it was good, which was fucking amazing as usual. But yeah, I definitely got connected, because some of the stuff she writes about demons in there and tombs that existed before angels, even like it. But demon folklore should be good for that. So
yeah, awesome. Sounds like fun.
So my question is, you're saying that you thought that wasn't actually a demon because like a different perspective, like it spoke more of a different belief system. So you thought it was a jinn, not a demon. Do you think that negative energy is negative energy, and it's whatever the person who's around, feeding that energy, it's what their belief system is on? So a really strong negative energy, to say me, because I have that, Catholic background, that would be demonic, but it might present different, like a different negative spirit from a different culture, but it's kind of all the same thing, just a different name? Or do you think there really is distinct entities?
I think there are very distinct entities, but I love that question because that's what I feel like a lot of people sort of assume, that it's all the same thing. We're just all calling it different things. But my research has yielded that demons are a very distinct entity. They're very different from, say, a ghost, or from a dybbuk, or from a jinn, or all sorts of other things that we have out there. Further work of mine is going to be classifying these different entity types so that we can start to narrow down what is exactly that a dybbuk does, what does a jinn do, that sort of thing, to get a lot closer. But demons have things that they do in every single narrative, and those things just weren't present in Annalise's case. And unfortunately, hers was very strange because she died, but I think it might have been that she gave up the fight, which is not to call her weak or anything like that, but that there was no medical reason that she died. So it was a very odd case. Sorry, I'm getting in the weeds here, but hers just didn't scream demon to me, and demon cases always scream demon. So I started to wonder what else it could be. And
so what screams demon? Like actual demons screaming in different voices, or like what? Like what screams demon?
Sure. I call them markers. So in every demonic narrative, you will have, I actually have an acronym for it. I call it EPIM, evil presence, intensity, and malice. You're going to find all of those things in every single demonic infestation ever. Like that really strong sense of evil, which is not mentioned in Annalise's case at all. Her phenomena, she was having very strange phenomena around her, but it wasn't as malicious, but it was clearly affecting her. Some of it was religious, some of it wasn't. It was just sort of not intense enough, because a demon is like being on a 10-point scale, but it's a 20.
Right.
They'll make crazy things happen in a house and basically possess this whole area so that it's no longer safe for you.
Gotcha.
I want to go back to Deborah's question, which I thought was extremely important. Victoria, you made a statement that I really think we need to understand, and that is that a demonic entity is the artifact of a religious framework.
Mhm.
So is the implication that there are hundreds of religions in the world, that there are hundreds of different types of demons because we have hundreds of different frameworks? I'm really trying to understand the implications of the statement you just made. And I think that's what Debra was getting at.
Gotcha. Let's see. I don't believe that there are like hundreds of entities. I actually believe that there's only a few different subtypes, but that would be like further research down the line. I'll be able to make a much better statement as far as that. But demons, the way that we think of them, are in a completely religious framework. And I'm sort of trying to approach it a different way in terms of what they can do, not from the religious stories that are sort of informing what we know about demons. So I'm just looking at it in a different way that I think will help narrow down what these things are. Does that answer your question?
Right. So you have an amazing framework for understanding an infestation or whatever it may be. And I understand that, although that's probably new to everyone else on the call. But what struck me is the statement that demons are principally from, a biblical orientation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the question that we're getting at is, do they exist solely as an artifact of that religion, which, if we argue now that demons are real, we have to therefore argue that the precepts of that belief system are in fact real.
Like the
Or
difference
are we
between
saying that entity, as we understand it, is merely being understood through the context of a religious structure? What are we really saying here? I think it's
Well,
extremely important.
All right, so what you're saying, from what I gather, is that if demons are real, then angels have to be real. There has to be a God. Like all those concepts have to exist for one to exist. Like you can't just pick one part of the story to exist. Like it all has to exist to some degree.
Yeah, Jeremy, I think I'm getting at that because I think what Victoria said would imply that. Victoria, is that what you said? Did I miss that? And I think Debra caught on to that as well.
well, like how there are Muslim demons and there are Christian demons, and
Right.
like I was posting everything just coming back in. Sorry, guys.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, Scott.
see, I think the biggest problem here, and I think this is what Victoria was saying, they're all people classify all these things as demons instead of the proper term for them, which should be either underworld beings or netherworld beings, or I mean, either
Well, I think-
interdimensional, even
I-
ultra terrestrial beings. They could be.
I think what they're getting at is the like exercising through different religious, like different demons need to be exercised through different religious texts, right? I think I caught that.
Well, yeah, I mean, belief is power. Belief is power. So whatever they believe in that region is what's going to work. I mean, belief is power. Manifestation, it's all real. I mean, energy works the way you want it to work as long as you know what you're doing. So
Come on, get realistic. It's frogmen.
Frogman.
I warned him
Hey.
about you, Jeremy. I warned him about you,
all right,
buddy.
all right, let me come back to that by saying, Victoria, do you think that birds may be demons? Because I mean, my boy Scott here thinks they're not real. So are
Birds
they
aren't
demons?
real. They already understand that. Do you believe
Oh,
in
I have
frogman?
missed these conversations.
That's,
I have missed these conversations.
Do you believe in frogman? That's what we need to hear. And I finally got on the biggest flat earth podcast in the country, and he's coming on our show. So
Oh,
right.
God help him.
Awesome.
God help him. God help him.
Yeah.
pretty convincing.
Yeah, dude, if you're convinced
He's
the
a
flat
really-
Earth is real, I swear to God, you're going to be doing something else. You're going to be handing me some other stuff first. For
He-
damn sure.
He doesn't like, he seems more logical about it. It's kind of like they've lied to us about everything and like coming at it from that perspective, but he's a really cool dude. So
Oh,
shout
well,
out
looking forward to
George.
that.
Plates in space.
Well, Victoria, so back to you specifically, saying that you've been possessed. So what did that look like? Like, were you aware that's happening? Did it creep up gradually? How did you invite him into the party? Like, how did it all kind of go down?
So I still don't know how they got in. But I do know from what I'm understanding, because I'm working on my next book about Jim, that it takes a level of physical, mental, spiritual breakage. And I was going through some really rough stuff at the time, and it just started to culminate in, first it started with nightmares, and I became afraid to sleep because of the things I was seeing. And then I started to throw up food, and my body and mind just got weaker and weaker, full on hallucinations. It got bad. And I had been sedated in a hospital, and that was, I think, when it got in. And something was looking out through my eyes and talking through me. I was still there, but I couldn't say anything. And then I don't remember 3 days of my life because I wasn't there.
I have done
Oh,
that same thing off of vodka. Just saying.
I was
Hey,
gonna say, Scott,
I was thinking mushroom.
Totally different city. Woke up. What the fuck happened? Why are my pants wet?
oh, I'm pretty sure that
Oh,
would be
no.
explained, Scott. That could be explained.
Yeah, it was
No,
explained.
it was someone else inside him running the show. It was not him.
Maybe.
Mushroom.
Takes no responsibility.
Psilocybin.
So Victoria, like, what kind of stuff were you saying? Like, was there other people in the room and they recorded it, or like, do you have recording? That'd be
no,
Sweet.
unfortunately, I don't.
not sweet. I mean, this is a terrible thing that happened to you, but
It's okay. I'm honestly over it. Like, the more I tell that story, the less power it has over me, because
Right.
like, different lifetime, I guess, for me. But yeah, there's unfortunately no real evidence of it, except for my parents did see it, but they didn't know what they were looking at. So they didn't realize that they were looking at something else that was talking through me. So I guess it didn't look that much different. And I was saying weird things, I guess, about how the dark is coming or something. It sounded like straight out of a young adult fiction novel. And then I just didn't wake up for 3 days, and there was pertinent information that I was told. During those 3 days, apparently I talked to people. They said I created things, that I was up and walking around, but I wasn't there. I don't remember it at all.
Did
Oh,
you
so
do
you-
anything crazy? Like really out there?
Like
or-
levitate.
Yeah.
No,
Did you levitate?
Did you?
Well, that's
did-
crazy.
How
Did you
how
try-
did it
did
get
you-
out of there?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Well, Here's the real question. Did you run for president 2016 against an orange-haired man?
Nope. So guess it wasn't that bad.
Oh, if she wasn't Hillary Clinton, then Scott, so we're good.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
Jack.
did you just say you don't know how it went away? Like it went away on its own? Is that
Yeah.
oh,
It
weird, okay.
my guess from everything I know now about possessions is that my will became strong enough to overcome it and spit it back out.
Did
Um,
you?
Did this happen did it happen during the middle of the day and suddenly you just felt it, or did you wake up in the morning and suddenly everything was different? How did it manifest?
How'd you come
Um,
out of it?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I was actually, it was the middle of the day and I woke up to a cigarette in my hand in a mental institution, and I don't smoke. I didn't even have my glasses on. So it sort of implies this thing could see because I'm blind without my glasses. So
Oh,
Sorta-
that's
sort
interesting.
of oddness. Yeah.
You think that would have been everybody's first sign if they knew you that you were walking around without glasses on? You think they would have been like, okay, something's
Absolutely.
really wrong here.
Yep.
Like if people see me without glasses on, they're like, what the fuck happened to your glasses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you like mentally fight with it at all?
No, I just wasn't there.
Okay.
There,
Yeah.
I mean, we
if,
all need
if
vacation,
something
but
spat it out, it wasn't me. Or if it was me, it was all unconscious, I suppose.
Like higher self or whatever. Yeah.
Or, depending on what people believe in. I personally believe in God. So I think he got rid of it for me.
I was
And that's
gonna
why there was
say-
no struggle.
I was gonna say it could have been a divine like miracle type thing.
Exactly.
And
How long ago was this? How long ago?
This was 2014.
2014. Okay. Well, happy anniversary of the 9th year of your horrific experience.
Yeah, it honestly, I think that even though it was a horrible experience, it's made me like much stronger, as like trite as that sounds, because I'm not afraid of anything anymore, like at all. I've already been through the absolute worst. And it really propelled me into this work, which I'm very passionate about. So it's fine.
Oh, good. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, if a demon can take over your body, at least it could do is like go kill your enemies while you're in that state, so you can then plead that a demon did it, not you.
Right? Exactly.
Frame you? Fuck that.
I don't know
Jeremy
if it's
just
getting you
said
off of
Like
anything
best
anymore.
case scenario, dude. Like, come on.
Jeremy just turned into Flip Wilson. The devil made me do it. What the heck?
Yeah.
3
If
days and
any
I
of you
wake up.
guys even know who that is.
Oh,
3
Does
Scott,
days
anybody
and I
even
wake
know who
up
that
in
is?
a mental institution. Like, best fucking scenario ever. That sounds like a night of drinking. Do it, son.
Scott
So,
knows
so-
that.
Victoria, I'd love to go back again to the religious framework because, this is something that is very interesting to me. Number one, let's talk about the insistence of the ghost chaser shows to use, exorcism tropes. It's like replaying bad versions of the exorcism movie over and over again.
Hmm.
I know you have an opinion about that because we spoke about it in the past. But the other thing I want to know is demonic possession in the realm of atheism, right? Do we need to be believers to believe in ghosts or to believe in demonic possession? Are these things possible in that framework?
I believe so, because atheists seem to be more. It's kind of an overarching statement I was about to make, but there are cases where people were possessed who were not very religious, or if they were, it was like in a very light way, or they were atheists and didn't believe in that sort of thing. I think, unfortunately, demons don't care what religion you're from or if you believe or not. But I can't sit here and pretend that I'm gonna like be able to convince somebody that a demon is real, right? It all goes down to what you believe. So religious framework gives us some answers, I think, to like what demons are and where do they come from, but it doesn't tell us the things that I'm interested in, like what can they do? What can't they do? It does a
Right.
little bit, especially like the Vatican archives, but that's not the things that people were focusing on. So that's what I focused on, because I was like, well, I want to know what they can do. Like, what can't they do? What are we missing from?
Wait a minute. Have you seen Vatican Archives actually?
We have
Oh,
someone
no.
coming on that is though.
Yeah,
That's
we do.
cool.
Yeah.
50
Even if I got in.
miles to the Library of Alexandria.
That's me and Scott's plan. If the apocalypse happens, we're going to the Vatican.
Well, when
Right.
I'm the president, we're going to war against the Vatican. We're stealing those books.
Even
Oh,
if I
burn
got
them all
in, I
then.
wouldn't be able to read them. Like I don't do what
That's-
demonologists do.
This
She
lady reads
speaks-
18 languages or some
Wow.
shit.
Ancient
Damn.
languages. She's amazing. And yeah, she's been granted access. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
That's
And she's like a
crazy.
knight. Knights Templar too.
Unfortunately,
She's super
the closest
interesting.
unfortunately, the closest I'm going to get to the Vatican is going to be Venice. But if I was there, I'd give it a shot.
Never
Okay,
leaving
you're-
America.
you're-
Bruce.
Don't look
That's
that
it.
tough.
Crow on your head, Bruce. You're doing this for a team. You're getting in there.
Yeah, you're going to Greece, dude. This car
Yeah.
right away. Go in there.
Yeah.
Take it over. You're
And then
not
there's one
eating
back.
shit.
guards-
Come on now.
The guards don't look that tough. I gotta tell you.
I mean, if they can get in there in a Euro trip, you can get in there in real life. Come on.
Probably
You-
buy a
you never
costume,
know.
dude. You'll be a double priest guy.
Just buy a Pope costume and walk in like you own the place.
Yeah.
If I only had a frogman outfit, I bet I could get in.
Confidence is everything, Bruce. Confidence
Ah.
is everything.
Hey, there were
Just-
frog extraterrestrials at the conference in Paris in the '60s. So
It's Halloween. The Pope costumes have to be out and about already, right? So you just throw her on and you walk right on. Like you own the
I-
place.
I could
Father
throw,
num 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 told me I could come in here.
I
exactly.
just throw them out some Latin and they'll let me right in the door. I'll look at them. I'll say, in hoc stericos wincas veni vidi vici, and they'll let me right in.
Exactly.
right.
You
And you'll be like, I like my coffee with frogs guts inside of them when you realize what to translate.
How did you know?
just like Debra said, you'd be out and about about it.
Yeah.
Out and about.
I did not say that, but anyway.
Yes, you did. Yes,
Yeah, you did say a boat. You
I
did
I think
say
you
a
did say
boat.
about.
I'm just making fun of that.
Okay.
for a minute. Just saying.
So can we get Victoria to answer my second question, which is actually my first? About
Sure.
the tired exorcism tropes that
Oh, yes.
pervade the ghost
Yeah.
chasing shows these days.
Well, are we going to talk about Zach Baggins right here?
Hashtag fuck Zach Baggins. Fuck
There's
that.
too much to unpack. I don't think I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
time.
I don't
But,
know what you guys are talking about.
I
you
think
do.
he's an entertainer. I view those shows as entertainment. The problem is that like people don't realize that. They
Yeah.
think it's gospel what they're seeing, and it's really not. Most paranormal investigators spend a lot of their lives trying to tell people, no, it's not like what you see on TV, not at all, actually. But the reason this keeps happening is because demonic possession is much scarier. It ups the ante. It makes things much more exciting and scary. And that's why it's happening, because people want to see that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, the
It
clickbait.
seems like it's the go-to when someone's not getting enough, evidence for their number one TV show or something. I mean,
Mhm.
I was shocked, well, not really shocked, but to discover that, like Ghost Adventures has a writing crew. It's like all this stuff that you think happens like off the cuff, it's
Mhm.
all written. So it's not really, if you've got the number one show and the Travel Channel says, if Victoria, if you had a show and they come to you and they go, you better have evidence or we're not going to have you on next year, you're going to be like, oh my God, let me tell you about when I got possessed. And
Yeah.
I'm going to get possessed next week for you as well, live on the air.
Skeptic
Yeah.
here, and we actually had the I don't remember what their name was, but they Ghost Lab, and they said that
Oh, yeah.
same type of shit was like happening with them, didn't they? Like
Something
where the
like that, I'm
fucking
sure.
Deborah, Jeremy,
What?
the Ghost
What?
Lab people, didn't they say that the Discovery
Oh.
Channel tried to get in there and like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
write some shit for
Yeah.
them?
Yeah. And so it becomes inauthentic, right? And if you think about it, demons especially, I mean, there's negative entities that are not human, like, and just a negative energy, you can feel it. But demons themselves, they're gonna want to be stealthy. Like, they're not showing up on a flippin'
Cable
live,
TV
you know,
show.
whatever, to, you know, perform circus tricks to wow the crowds. Like, they're not gonna
Yeah.
do that. They want to work stealthily, right? Like, that's the whole thing. The longer they can stay undetected, the better for them. So that wouldn't even make sense that they're,
Yeah.
you know, scratching up people and whatever. Just,
Like
you know,
all the time. at
that
least.
just, that's all for clicks.
Mhm,
So
for sure.
Michael and Bruce, have you guys ever like encountered something you thought was a demon?
I have not. We had a religious demonologist here at our last Paracon, and I'll tell you, he had some fairly intense stories, but at least in the city of Tombstone, I've never come across any negative energy at all. We seem to have, I don't want to say we have happy-go-lucky spirits, because a lot of these people here died super tragic deaths. But I will tell you that my friend's daughter, who is half Navajo and half white, she has all kinds of very strange things happen to her. That's why they moved here from Tucson. There was she was very sensitive to what's going on with other people. There was just too many people there. So they came down to a very, very small town here. And one time her mother told me that she walked in her room and she goes, "Mom, there's a little boy up on the roof." And my friend's like, "Oh my God, I got to get a ladder. I can't have this kid fall. They're going to sue me and all that." And she goes, "But it's not a little boy." And she goes, "It's a dark energy." And so I haven't myself, but I know someone locally who has at their home. So, and it wasn't any big, exorcism thing or possession or anything like that.
I
Mhm.
gotcha. What about you, Michael?
I can't say that I have. That said, I'm kind of like the old TV show, The X-Files. I want to believe, right? I think it's fascinating to toy with the idea that there's things that exist outside the peripherals of our experience and our ability to perceive. I mean, we know that we have, obviously we can see, but the frequencies of light we see are limited. We can hear, but the frequencies we can hear are limited. The idea that there are things just beyond our natural ability to perceive is intriguing to me. And I don't discount religion. I think when we look at religion in the context of extraterrestrials, or call it what you will, I mean, there are so many opportunities to be fascinated. And that's really how I look at it. To me, it's fascinating. Have I seen it? No. Have I gone to the cemeteries with the SLS cam to find it? Yes.
So what
I
I
saw
think
that.
he's saying is we have the second skeptic on the show.
Yeah, I'm not
The more-
I'm not sold.
The more
And-
realistic
I'm
one,
the
Scott.
same
The
way,
more-
and
the
I've had
more realistic, Scott.
experiences. I've had experiences. I did mine for the pixelated paranormal. I've had like maybe 5 to 7 experiences. I'm not gonna count.
But that's
them
why
right
it's so
now.
interesting that you always say you're a skeptic, because you have had experiences. Like, I don't understand how you're like, I think you just don't want to say, yes, I'm a believer.
No, you know what? I know exactly how he can do that, because I'm kind of a believer and a skeptic as well, because just believing in the possibility or having events happen to you is a lot different than looking at another event and going, "I totally see what happened there." Because when you debunk, it's just like Victoria was talking about earlier. when you debunk, it doesn't make you necessarily a skeptic. It means that you're a realist. You're looking at the evidence and you're looking to see what happens.
But Scott had, like, if you ever go back and watch the episode where he shared, it was like, he's had some, I mean, it was a pretty, I would be a believer after that.
The one
particular.
the one I shared with the pixelated paranormal is like, even my mom started believing in fucking ghosts after
Mhm.
this, and my dad had heard the shit too. But like, when all of our friends, dude, like as soon as my wife Lindsay started hanging out with us, like Matt's garage where we would have band practice and sleep was haunted. The desert where we would all party and sleep was haunted. Fucking, but then like my parents' house, the cutting board would just like start slamming out of nowhere and cabinet doors would slam. And then there was this one time we were fucking, we were drinking and we were alone in the house and we heard the cabinet door and the cutting board and all the other shit that would happen. But then it was like a step, and it started out like a little step. And I was like, that's the cat. We had 3 cats, right? So there were like 5 of these steps, and it was just like, yeah, that's all the cats fucking jumping off the stairs or playing or whatever, or having fun. And then, so I'm drunk. I fucking walk out to the staircase and I start screaming at this thing. And like, as I'm fucking in front of the staircase, it got louder, like, but like spread out. And then like, I became a bitch and went back into the fucking bedroom. We shut the door and I stopped talking shit to it. Like it's a long story, but fucking
That doesn't sound all that skeptical.
That's what I'm saying.
When it was done, like we counted the fucking steps and the fucking bangs afterwards, and it was the same amount of steps, even including like the landing all the way up, like the same amount as the bangs. So, and I've had other experiences where like I fucking couldn't explain it, but could have been the cats.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a cat for sure. For sure, it was a cat.
Cats.
I mean, I'll go back to something Debra said last week about, feeling a presence. I'm less inclined to be skeptical of that. We've got a statue here in the house. I go past it 5 times a day, never pay any attention to it. And every once in a while, the thing raises the hair on the back of my neck, and all of a sudden I know this thing is there, and I've actually turned the SLS camera on it, and it's revealed, a ghost or whatever living in this statue. So there's something about, like you said, Debra, something about feeling a presence or feeling something. So back to Scott's question, have I ever felt something or have seen something? That is probably as close as I can get to an actual experience.
Michael, you need to drag that statue 100 miles away from your house and smash the fuck out of it in a
I'm gonna sell it on
car
eBay.
that you return.
Or sell it on eBay. People like haunted
Yeah,
objects.
haunted
That's
shit.
fair.
You put Haunted statue on eBay, and I know some podcasters that might want to buy it.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what.
Jeremy's the man, you might get high dollar.
I'll tell you what, if someone buys it and then 3 weeks later they go, it disappeared from my house and it ends up on your front doorstep, you've got an issue.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
still might not believe you though, Michael.
But there's a definite, so that's interesting because that's probably an entity. Like there's Victoria, you said you're psychic too, because I'm really a feeling person. I'm not a medium. But I've had an experience where I was doing readings because I'm very sensitive to energies, and I 100% can feel spirits, and I can feel if it's non-human or if it's a human spirit or whatever. And I've done a reading, we were just messing around this group trying to kind of learn all of this. And I described this lady's, I described this, I was like even leaning back, I'm like, he's big, he's a loud person, I can smell the cologne. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's my dad. Like, what's the message? And I'm like, I have no idea because I can hear them. I just know who's there, you
Mhm.
know? But so my thing is, so demons are, I can't even imagine, like the strength of that has to be just so much different than any of these things we're talking about, right? Like,
Mhm. Like the intensity is insane. And it's very malicious when people come across demons in literally every narrative I've ever heard, everyone that's been published. Everybody talks about how evil this thing is, how much it wants to hurt you, how much it makes you want to run. Like every inch of you just needs to get away from this thing. And that how when people don't do that, they actually become sick from it
right.
in some
And do they
form
ever
or
like
another.
get in you and they want you to kill someone else, or you know, like is it ever that, or is it just like they're after you kind of thing, wanting to hurt you?
So that has happened in at least a few narratives, but it's not very common. They could, yes, but I do think it's a lot more not personal per se, but they pick somebody out usually in a household who's the most psychologically vulnerable or maybe the most psychic. But I can't prove that statement, so you don't have to take my word for that. That's just something I personally think, and that they pick them, and that's because they're the easiest to get into. And then maybe they'll do some evil, but most likely they're trying to cause death. They don't seem to do much when they're in there.
And so here's like, and this might be a little controversial, but what are your feelings about like really down and out alcoholics or drug addicts or people who are really vibrating low in their lifestyle already? And then do you feel like, I really personally feel negative energies attached to people like that, just keep that, you know, feeding their mind with more destructive, like you feed off of that, right? And keep them. So it's even a harder struggle to get out of that. Do you see a correlation, or?
Well, before she answers a part B to that question, because Debra, why would they want to take over that person when they're not going to do much for that person? If that person is wound out on drugs or an alcoholic.
Well, just like she said, it's an easier person to get to because they're already kind of vibrating low.
It's always been in the lore, at least, that the demons want someone who has influence or power, even if it's over the family. They want the person who is in charge, and they can. It won't be like too noticeable when they start taking over.
Except,
I wonder,
but
I
that could
have
be a
to
collective.
wonder,
That could be a big collective problem, right? Like if they can have, you know, a huge amount of influence over a ton of people, then
well,
that's
if you think about it, yeah, and I can't remember what movie it was. It was probably a Leslie Nielsen vampire movie or something, but he bites someone's neck who's like completely drunk, and then he's completely drunk. I'm wondering if some type of energy went into an addict alcoholic who's just fucking loaded. I mean, just really jacked up. If they get loaded too, I think that would be quite interesting to find out.
So what you're saying is to be fucked up all the time.
For the record, that's Dracula Dead loving it. But
yes. Well, and as you guys know, which Jeremy? No, yeah. Jeremy. Yeah. What Jeremy doesn't know is I've been sober. It'll be 34 years in November. So I'm a little hip to when you guys, I was keying in when you guys got the discussion of, I wonder if when people are beat down, I believe there's a lot of different, just like there's a lot of different kinds of entities or demons or religions. There's a lot of different kinds of addicts and alcoholics, because you get the people that are like, they drink because they're celebrating. They drink because they lost their job. They drink because they got married. They drink because they got divorced. Me, I drink because I like to get fucked up. That was my entire thing. People go, why do you drink? I'm like, because I like being loaded. Oh,
well,
okay.
That's Jeremy and I right there.
hey, buddy, I am over 30 days sober. Thank you.
30 days sober. Okay, that's just
Are you really?
me then.
Yeah, I kind of had no choice in the matter, but.
We'll talk sometime. Do you know Bill?
Do I know who?
Bill? No.
AA reference here, buddy. Come on.
No.
Oh my God.
I wasn't doing no AA. I wasn't doing no AA. It was all just willpower.
Oh, all right. I was going to say, that just told me something about the captain over there. He's like, oh, it's an AA reference. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
Okay.
Never been. I quit once for 3 years and once for 4 years, and I'm gonna be quitting here pretty soon.
oh, well,
I
hey,
quit for
not on
10
my account.
days, 10 days while since we've started this podcast.
You
I
know
got
what's
pretty
hilarious?
productive.
What's hilarious is that you guys know I'm going to go on this cruise, and everyone going on this cruise is just going to get hammered, right? They're like, we're letting you know we got open bar for you every night for both you and your wife. And I'm like, what a waste that was on us.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, dude, you still get the buffets. Don't come on.
oh yeah, oh no,
There's
I get everything
tiny
back.
violin. You got the buffets.
Oh no, I
Shit's
get
gonna
all
be off
the
the
stuff.
hook.
Believe me, but
You'll
I'm
have
gonna
a
be
better time
having-
and you'll remember it anyways. You'll have a good
I-
time. That's
I'm going to be having like Diet Pepsi while everyone else is having, margaritas and stuff. So
Well, Debra, you've been on a cruise, and I know Jeremy's been on like
no, I've
multiple.
never been on a cruise.
Okay. I've never been on a cruise. What
Oh,
about
I've been on multiple,
Victoria
yeah.
Sadly, no.
and Michael?
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
been
guys-
on many cruises, many cruises.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a good 20 years. It's been a good 15, 20 years, but I've been on a lot of cruises before that.
Never
how
been.
about
on a
you,
cruise.
Victoria?
Never, sadly. I want to go.
You know,
they're not,
my
they're not,
my
I hear they're
brother-
not the same. I hear they're not the same as they used to be, and that's a damn shame.
Oh, really? Mm.
My brother-in-law's the fucking drummer for 311. They have a 311 fucking cruise every goddamn year.
Oh,
Never
Cool.
been on a fucking cruise.
And you've never gone on it?
No, the funny thing is they go on tour, and yes, Holly, I'm talking directly to you. They have gone on tour. We've lived in Utah for fucking 8 years. This is the only state she does not go on tour with him to. So I
Wow.
haven't even seen my fucking sister.
Well, I'll tell you, I know cruise ships are different because I'll tell you what, I can surf on my cruise ship. So
Yeah.
That'd be
no
usually-
bad.
badass, son.
That's cool.
No,
Yeah.
I've heard the dining's a lot different than it used to be, because it used to be everybody would
Oh.
eat in one dining room in shifts, kind of, and it was
Right,
always
right.
most gourmet food. Now it's all franchise. There's like Johnny Rockets on fucking cruise ships and whatnot.
You have to pay for
you know
it
what?
now?
That's exactly right.
McDonald's.
Hey, Victoria, I was noticing on your Facebook page that it says Mexican Supernatural. Do you live in Mexico or no?
I do live in Mexico right now.
What part?
Where at?
Right now in Rosarito, but I'm going to be moving to Santa Fe.
Oh, I've been in Rosarito many times when I lived in Southern California.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. What did you
And then
think
you're
of
going
it?
to Santa Fe in New Mexico.
Oh, no,
Oh, you're
Santa
gonna-
Fe in Mexico. So
In
it's
Mexico. Okay.
like it's like right next door. It's right outside of Tijuana.
Oh, yeah. Tijuana is not like everyone thinks it is. I'll tell you what. Tijuana is a big city.
It is.
It's a lot bigger than people think. I think when I got married, which was like 20 years ago, there was like 3 million people there 20 years ago. And I'm like, man, it's bigger than San Diego by a long shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
crazy.
huge city. It's so many people. Oh, my gosh. But you can find some of the coolest, cheapest stuff down there to buy. And we love going down there for that reason.
Now,
Except
do
cars.
you find that being in Mexico, it's a very Catholic country. Do you find more talk about demons and possessions and that type of thing down there, or not really?
That's a good question. Yeah, like that's
Not
heavily
really.
Catholic.
But here's the honest truth. I don't speak as much Spanish as I possibly could. I
Claro
know
que
that-
sí.
So
Now's your chance to learn.
yeah, no, I mean,
Actually,
I do speak
that would
little
be a
bit.
great chance for you to learn.
Yeah, it is. And I am in the process of learning. I do speak a little bit of Spanish, enough to get whatever it is that I need, but it's like broken Spanish.
¿Dónde
It's not very
está
good.
el cuarto de baño?
So there you don't want to be in where there's someone possessed if you're not quite getting the language right. And you're,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
open it to me instead. Oh no, that's not what I meant.
Right, exactly.
No, let me get the book out. Go
You
ahead.
know, the whole thing with Spanish, just for Victoria, the whole thing is being able to roll your R's. If you can roll your R's, you'll be good. So what you need to do is go on YouTube, look up commercials from the 70s and find the commercials for the Pentel rolling writer. And you'll fit right in. As long
Good
as
to
you can roll
know.
your R's, you'll be good.
That's my
I mean-
favorite thing to watch on YouTube is commercials from the 70s. Like,
I mean,
For real.
if you can
And
roll
the
some
80s.
if you can roll some J's and you think you know it, it doesn't really matter anyway. So
So Victoria,
That's
can you give
right.
us a synopsis of that podcast you did? The
So some
Mexican
of it,
Supernatural?
yeah, so I told a few stories. Some of them, like, you've probably heard, like La Llorona, the Weeping Woman, El Cucuy.
Man, I got to tell you, I got to stop you right there for 1 second. I don't know why I was under the illusion that we were doing urban legends this week until I realized you were coming on. And that was the one I picked. La Llorona. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. As soon as you said that, I'm like, they had 4 movies about that in 2 years, like came out of nowhere, 2019, 2020.
it was the new Krampus.
Yeah.
don't you
Probably.
talk shit about my Krampus, motherfucker.
Scott, I'm putting together a Christmas horror movie bracket just for you.
Hey, when the fuck am I coming on your music show since you were offline? Fucking
We'll
when I'm
reschedule.
supposed to be
We'll reschedule. Don't worry, buddy. I didn't forget
Okay,
about
back to
you.
Victoria and her list, you guys. So,
Yeah.
So
We
yeah, like
Talk
I
about
told,
La Llorona.
yeah, La Llorona. So La Llorona is actually a legend. Urban legends.
Urban legend. Yes.
Urban legends are actually more like everyday things. Like things that could definitely happen in your daily life, but totally didn't because it's a story that's a little too good to be true.
Right.
So, but like a legend, although honestly there is this problem in folklore of like people like trashing the term urban legend and just using legend, but I think they're different. So,
Right.
but yeah, La Llorona is a really interesting one because you cannot tell exactly where it came from. This story, it's been told so many times and it's so old and it's changed so many times. I've heard a million different versions of this tale. So it's hard to narrow it down exactly where it came from, and it spread so far. So it really
It's hard to even
resonated.
narrow down the country it came
Yeah.
from.
I know.
Well, yeah, because like I know La Llorona doesn't mean like Mamacita Blanca, but like it's not Lady in White, but it's basically the same thing, right? Like the Lady
Very
in
similar,
White.
yeah. Because she's wearing supposedly a tattered white dress.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I told a few stories. I told a couple legends that I'd found that were just sort of off the beaten path. And I talk about curanderismo and how big it is here. So like curanderos and curanderas, they're botanicas everywhere that sell candles and herbs and all sorts of things. And
Your
I talk-
Spanish is going to be fine. I'm listening to you
Yeah.
pronounce it. You're going to have no problem.
You sound like you're from Southern California.
Yeah, I am actually. But yeah, so I talk about that, and then I talked about some of my psychic experiences here and how it's been a little bit negative because I'm still adjusting. So it's just a little different than anything that I've ever experienced as far as psychic stuff.
Cool.
So here's
Well,
the
that just made
question.
everyone
We did
fun.
we did a podcast about possessions. Scott and Jeremy, I don't know if you remember that one,
Absolutely. I took the Muslim angle.
but it
They
was
had
really
thousands of
interesting. I thought it was
exorcisms.
when in the research, I found this, it was like a 1-800 exorcism number. Like people believe so heartily in this and so much still. Like there's if you need an exorcism, there's a 1-800 number you can call to, hook you up.
Mm-hmm.
So like, do you believe, that's because of the movies or whatever? Is this just, a sign of the times that they're now online doing, have online 1-800 call an exorcism?
Is
along
that
with
run
your-
by Zach Baggins?
I don't know. I was
no,
shocked that it was a
1-800
thing. I was
exorcism?
like, In my
No,
mind,
I-
an exorcism is the Catholic Church, and it takes this whole big long schmoz to get the guy to
Debra.
come do it. But
You call that 1-800 number, they give the message to the Pope, and he sends Russell Crowe to your house to go take care of it.
Nice.
it's that
There's
easy,
a lot
I
of
guess.
grifting in the paranormal, unfortunately. So I really think it's people preying on people's fears
Yeah,
and hoping that it could be just that easy to get rid of whatever's bothering them.
yeah.
And
So, like you see those spammers, and they're like, I see your ancestors. There's a curse on you.
Yep.
DM me now, and I can remove it, or your curse. Like, whatever. Are you kidding? You're the
Exactly.
curse.
I'm like, I knew that. I knew I had a curse. What are you talking about?
It's like
You-
you're the
you-
curse.
you
and I'm
call-
getting out of my yeah.
You call the number and the guy picks up and he goes, I am a Nigerian prince.
Yes. I kind of feel sorry for any Nigerian princes that are single because they'll never date anyone. Like
Ever.
ever.
No one's gonna
Certainly
believe
not
it.
by email.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll get rid of the demon for you, but you gotta put a down payment of $10,000 down your credit card first.
That's right.
Yeah. And
I
then
need
one
the
other thing I
transfer
want,
fee.
one other thing I want you to kind of settle because you brought it up a little bit, and I don't know, this is going to be very divided on this panel here, but I'm of the belief that a Ouija board is just a board. It's like you actually channel through your body. It doesn't really matter which tool, if it's like, tarot cards or whatever you're using, it's what you make of it. But that's another thing that's really gotten because of movies and stories and whatever. People feed a lot of fear into the Ouija board. What do you think about that? Is it just
It's
a tool,
evil.
just like any other tool? You have to be respectful, or is it like the portal to everything?
Don't fuck with
Personally-
you don't know about.
I
mean,
actually,
Yes,
I'm of
God,
that
don't fuck with
mind.
tarot cards.
It's like with this.
Made by
if you-
Parker Brothers.
If you have a chainsaw and you don't know how to use it, it's going to be dangerous, right?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
kind of how I view it, because if you don't know how to use the board, then maybe it could be dangerous. But if you do, I don't really see a problem with it, because I don't think that demons are common enough to be behind every single interaction with a Ouija board. Sometimes spirits try to pretend that they're bigger and badder than they are to scare people, because that's what I would do if I was dead. I'd just fuck with people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I don't use a chainsaw right there, but yeah.
And that's exactly what I believe too. But it's no different than using a pendulum or anything. You're
Anything.
respectful, and you're making sure that you're being respectful and being careful and whatever, know what you're doing and not messing around and not
But
challenging.
don't like, can't you summon that, I won't say the demon's name. It might rhyme with
Zoho or
maybe
Zobo
it's-
or Bobo or something like that.
Yeah, like we don't want to fuck with that just in caseies, right?
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
What?
but then you set your intention
Yeah,
to,
see, I don't want Hillary Clinton coming into my Ouija board.
but it's all about your intent when you sit down with it. It's always about your intent and what kind of energy and vibration you're trying to actually draw in. So
Maybe.
if you're like trying to provoke that said fellow there, then maybe maybe he will show up. But
That's
I think
kind
it's
of-
your
But
intent.
Deborah, I guess my question is how would you know how to provoke something?
Well,
And-
because
and-
that's where you see on the shows, there's always the guy that goes, like, even on the investigations and stuff, there's always the one guy who's like, I'm not a believer, and screw you, do your best. Like, I don't think you should be doing that. I really don't. I think
I don't
that's
either.
dangerous.
The paranormal
That's
community
provoking.
agrees.
So when you sit down and everybody's done the Ouija board, but back when they're 15 and you're drinking for the first time or whatever and messing around, you should not be doing that. That's not safe.
I mean,
But
So-
what about the people who like snort coke every Saturday and it's their party night, their day off of work, and
Oh, the
then
Chris- the Chris
this
Farley method?
this week that shit was cut with fentanyl and they fucking died. That's what I'm worried about, right? Like my first time on the Ouija board, Mr. Zoe, I won't say his full name.
Oh,
even
Zozo?
though
But
he's
but
kept it.
again, you
Yeah,
call
Zozo.
Jeremy's gonna die.
but again, you call in your team. Like, I believe in guides and angels, and so you call in high vibrational beings around you, and you connect with, like, it's not, again, Michael, we were talking about energy. You can feel energy. So if it's negative, you ask it to leave. It has
Yes.
to go.
Deborah
It has
is
to go.
correct. Deborah is correct. Because Deborah, I now do Reiki and a meditation every night. And
Nice. Yeah.
the energy is fucking real, man. It's fucking
Energy's
real.
real. It's a real thing.
Hey,
You feel it and you
I-
trust what you're feeling.
So what do
I
you
have to ask
use
you
to
guys a
call in
question
the
about that.
angel?
So the question I have to ask is when you talk about Reiki, right? I never meet anyone that's not a Reiki master. It seems like everybody, there's no Reiki trainees. I never run into that. It's always
right
like,
here.
it's always like, I'm a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki. I'm like, it must be easy as shit to become a Reiki master because that's all I ever see.
Dude,
Okay.
I am a Reiki trainer, and your tarot card reading will only cost $50. Venmo, PayPal.
Hey,
it's all accepted.
I was a certified massage therapist for many years ago. And that's the first time I ever heard about Reiki was in massage therapy. And then suddenly everybody in the paranormal is a Reiki master. I'm like, are you guys all getting massage classes? What's going on here? And they're like, oh no, it's a totally different thing. I'm like, it didn't used to be though.
Well,
Is it
Bruce,
though?
I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it's different.
I mean, as someone who has Reiki done them every 2 weeks, you don't have to be in the same room to do it. That's the difference. And
Gotcha.
as someone who runs their own paranormal podcast too, I've seen a lot of people online that just call themselves Reiki practitioners instead of masters.
That's true.
Yeah, I never run into that. I always everyone always tells me they're a master, like every single person.
No,
I'm like, are you kidding me?
The ones who are masters tend to only focus on Reiki and energy work. The ones who are practitioners tend to be mediums or psychics or some other line that along the paranormal field as well.
Oh, I
Gotcha.
didn't know that. That's really cool.
And I think there is levels of education to that. I'm sure like everything to do with any of these kind of modalities, there's like, some credentials that carry more weight and some are, like a little thing on the internet that you buy for $20 and then you get a certificate that says you're a master. It's all, I mean, it's kind of unregulated, right? So, I mean, you gotta.
What do you go to like Taos, New Mexico and like take some DMT and sit in a shack with somebody for a while and become a Reiki master?
God, that's just
Is
a
this
fun,
online?
That's a fun weekend. That's not a class.
I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but Captain talks about drugs and drinking all the time. I'm gonna see you in program sometime.
Welcome to the show and listen to the old episodes on YouTube. Oh my God.
Yeah, Jeremy
Right?
was talking just as much.
Oh, trust me, me and Scott
And
together
then we
when I was
would
drinking.
drag Debra's ass into it.
And then I'm
Debra's
in the
been
middle.
pretty fucked up.
I'm a lightweight though. It takes me like a half a drink and then I probably should be shut up. So
Yeah,
Debra,
her half a drink is a 6-pack to me and Scott, but yeah.
what I will say is after our last podcast, one of your paranormal investigation teams was so adamant about not touching a Ouija board, I decided to buy one.
Oh, you said you were going to do that with me in the swamp, motherfucker.
I am going to do it with you,
What
but I need to get one.
see, and that's so I have one actually. So I always find it so fascinating how some people who are investigative team, like people who are, exposed to this, it's still so diversified, but some people are just like, absolutely not. It's just so interesting to me, all the different reactions to it. That's why I wanted to get Victoria's take on it too.
Well, until I get hands on and try it,
Michael?
Skeptical. What's that, Scott?
What happened to you? Since you
with respect to the Ouija board, I've never tried one. So I want to give it a shot. You want to come down? We're going to summon the skunk ape out of the Everglades. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. While we're
let me tell you what's going to happen though, because I have been on Ouija boards before. If Ouija boards really work well, you wouldn't have to put your hands on them.
I'm with you, Bruce.
When people put their hands on them,
happened, I'd shit my pants.
I know what you're going to say.
Really,
Bruce.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's easier to get into someone's psyche and make them move the cursor around.
Yeah, me when I'm fucking with Michael.
Bruce, what Bruce is saying is I'm going to regret spending the $25.
Probably.
That was
At
there
Toys R
now.
Us.
Is
You
it
mean Hasbro- you
plastic,
mean-
Michael? Is it plastic? Is your
You-
little planchette plastic?
That's right. The planchette is made out of human bone.
It's supposed to
Oh,
be.
there you go. Perfect.
And it's Hasbro. Oh, you've made Hasbro a little richer.
Yeah.
Magic the
Yep.
Gathering. Come on
Okay,
now,
well-
they made a solid
we-
game.
We will have to have you do a few trials, and then actually we should do something like that where we all do a little bit of investigating on our own and come back and
Hey.
do an actual show on what we found.
No, I just.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just,
the producer of that episode.
I just staged my
Oh,
house.
listen to the chickens.
I just staged my house. I ain't fucking with that.
No, yeah.
I just
Hey,
staged. I just staged and seared my whole house a couple days ago. I ain't fucking with that now.
That's a good question for Victoria. Does the sage get the demons away?
No,
No,
it,
not
it
at
never
all.
was supposed. It never
Well,
was
what
supposed
the
to.
fuck gets the demons away?
God,
Exorcism. And God,
I
yeah.
don't think Sage gets anything away.
it
Hey,
calms things.
don't
It doesn't
screw
get. It
with
doesn't get
my
anything away.
mind right now.
It,
Yeah, I
it,
think
it,
it's
Even for
calm.
people that don't like the smell of sage, gets rid of them
calms
right away.
it calms-
Demons
That's
are
not a
just like
bad thing.
teenagers. Give them some chores, they'll be gone immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Seriously.
that idea.
Well, where is one? I need. They could have mowed the lawn for me today. God damn it!
Right?
I had
Absolutely.
an hour and a half of my life. I couldn't have played video games. God damn it!
So from the last podcast, I did a little bit of research because we were talking about something that was fascinating, and that was the SLS camera.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And Bruce, I'm sorry, I kind of put you on the spot because I know you're really into arts and all, and I thought, maybe you had some ideas. So I looked it up. And apparently this was developed by Microsoft, and it was
Mhm.
developed for game consoles.
Of course.
Because I don't know if you guys have ever played with something like the Wii, where
Yeah.
you just stand
Yeah.
in front of it and it knows where you are and it knows what you're doing.
Paranormal
That's
Activity
SLS.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity 3.
So that's
Oh,
the SLS, the structured light sensor camera. It basically creates a 3D matrix of light dots, and it
To
can,
show where you are and what you're doing.
right. And that's how this whole thing works. That's how the SLS camera works.
Well, I mean,
So
that's kind of like that episode of Evil.
yeah, so it's a technology developed for the gaming industry, but it's been used
Oof.
now for paranormal investigations because it can pick up humanoid shapes. That's what it's designed to do.
Do you want me to play the video? Like, tell me when you want me to play the video because I got it uploaded.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about urban legends, and I had a bunch of stuff to talk about, but really at the end of the day, I think what's fascinating, because I can tie it into the last SLS I took at this local cemetery, but it's an urban legend about being buried alive. And the urban legend is that there was a mother who dreamt that her daughter was buried alive, and this became an obsession for her. She couldn't stop thinking that her daughter was in fact buried alive. And she couldn't shake off the feeling. It was consuming her. She conferred with family and friends, and they just said, well, you're in mourning. This is not a normal concern. And then she was eventually unable to bear the thought that her daughter was in fact buried alive. So they exhumed the body, only to find that, in fact, she tried to claw her way out of the casket, and she was buried alive.
I knew that. I knew that
Only in
story. I
Florida.
knew it.
Only
Only in Florida.
So
No.
what came out of this, believe it or not, you may be aware of these things called safety caskets. Is
Yeah.
anybody
The
aware of that?
bell,
100%.
Graveyard shift.
They'd have a
Yep.
bell attached to them
Right.
so that if you were buried alive, you could pull a string and it would ring the bell.
And that's where the term graveyard shift came from. Because people would
Yeah.
sit in the graveyard all night to hear the bell.
And now
Oh,
you're stuck
interesting.
there, you
Oh.
son of a gun.
That's,
So
that's-
Scott,
that-
this would be a good time to play the video. So
Okay, let me get
I
sound.
took this SLS video at the Rose Cemetery here in Tarpon Springs. And what I find very disturbing about it is you could imagine
Anybody here?
somebody, yes. You could imagine the person that's in this grave still alive and struggling to get out. And that's kind of what the motion looks like to me.
Oh,
It was just very odd.
Huh. That's creepy as all fuck.
And what I
Yeah, and
don't
that, and I told Michael earlier
Anybody here?
in the group where
yeah,
we were
that's it.
texting that I've seen extremely similar SLS captures like that from Boot Hill as well, a number of times. Like people that definitely look like they're laying in the grave. Occasionally we'll get them that are sitting, but most of the time they
here?
look like they're laying down.
that's
Yeah, and I
interesting.
think the other
Wow.
weird thing about it is I don't see, there's really no humanoid form that's tricking the camera into thinking it's a humanoid.
Right.
Like the statue that I have that I key off of, it's a Black
Right.
Panther. So, it can kind
Anybody
of
here?
approximate a human form. But that, I don't see it.
So
Victoria.
Michael,
Yeah.
so you took that footage, Michael? That was you?
Yes, I did.
So
You just
again,
gave-
so the feeling then, did you feel energy there? Did you
Well,
sense
this is
something
very
there?
interesting because this is Victoria's exact thesis. There has to be more evidence than just imagery from an SLS camera. I felt nothing. In fact, I walked even closer to the grave to try to elicit a response from whatever was moving there. Nothing happened. I didn't feel anything, but I just thought that the jarring motion reflected in the image was unsettling.
Hmm.
Almost like this thing was trying to get out.
You just gave me an idea for a new horror movie. I'm just saying that, but
As my fellow skeptic, Michael, can you send me a link to the app you used? Because I would like to record like every fucking sewer manhole I can find until I can recreate it.
I will absolutely send that to you, Scott.
Hey,
Yeah,
put it in
we
the
gotta
chat, 'cause
burn
it's just on your
this
phone,
app
right?
to the ground.
Yeah, I can put it in the chat.
Unless we don't. If we don't, then
I mean-
maybe there's some shit to it.
you may just discovered a way for the police to find bodies, but yeah.
So here's the question. Have you guys ever had, I've had this happen so many times, but you have things around, but have you ever just been sitting there and then Siri kicks on, and nobody's talking,
Yes.
you're all alone and you're like,
Yes,
Siri
that
Siri
happens
is not
all the
allowed in
time.
my house, just
Yeah,
like a
Siri-
Ouija board.
Siri's not allowed in my house either
Or-
for,
yeah,
for
like-
many reasons.
A Ouija board will come into my house before Siri does.
I'd rather have a Ouija board.
Seriously. I trust the freaking demons more than I trust Jeff Bezos.
well, it's on your phone
Absolutely.
though. There's Siri is on, it's on your phone.
No,
You can
not,
turn
not
that
if you
shit off, dude.
Not if
No,
you-
yeah.
not if you have an Android like a smart person, Deborah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
well.
No, oh,
Fuck
Oh.
Bixby too. Shut that shit off.
I would like to get Victoria's take on the SLS video.
I thought it was a little bit unsettling, but the thing is, when it comes to phenomena, it comes down to the cultural source hypothesis or the experiential source hypothesis. So because you knew that story, that probably informed what you were seeing or what you thought you were
Well,
seeing.
the phone
That's
saw
a good
it,
point.
though. The phone saw it.
The phone knows what he knows. It's the 22nd century here, Scott. Beat us. Almost.
Stupid Scotty.
it was Google.
Dude, Google
I think what
AI.
Victoria is saying is we're interpreting what we're seeing, right? We're
Well,
interpreting
we
that
all
as
Because
a
it
ghost.
could have been, anything.
I saw humanoid figures like made
Yeah.
out of dots and lights and shit.
I'm not
It could have
saying
been
it's not true. I actually have no idea.
It could have been Squirrels
just
of an
prefer it to
orgy,
be
just
more.
saying.
But if you had had an experience on top of that, that would have made me go, oh yeah, I think something's going on. But
Yeah.
because phones can do all sorts of things, and it could be any kind of malfunction, it could be that there's something is in there. But what a horrible thing to be trapped like that. Like, that's all it made me really think. Like, oh, I'm so
Well,
sorry.
this is a debate we had with the last crew that was on here, one of the Ghostbuster teams. The gentleman said that, they used a Ouija board to unlock a demon from the basement and they broke a lock off the door and the demon came out. And this made me wonder if these are, quasi-physical entities, can they be locked in anything? Can it be locked in a grave? Can it be locked in a basement?
Well,
That to me doesn't really make a lot of sense,
It's a
given what
fucking
we
great
believe.
question.
gins were locked in lamps, so I mean, why not?
Yeah, I think if another more powerful positive being or something can do that, right? Like can trap
Can
them.
we lock them though?
I was locked in a bottle for
into-
like 30 years.
Me
I
too.
mean, if you're a Winchester, Scott, then you can lock them in anything you want.
What's your take, Victoria? Can more powerful positive spirits cap the powers of a negative one, like say putting it into an object so it can't, things like that?
Or people with
I
a
think so.
spell. Like could we lock something up?
Well, you can because you're powerful and like you are a powerful energy, but you'd have
I
to
like to tell myself, Deborah, but
I was
You
gonna say,
are.
at the end of the
I was gonna
day,
say, is Scott really that powerful? Come on, now.
everybody, we all are. We just have to
The beard
step
alludes
into
it.
it.
I think you got a little too much hope for humanity there.
I agree. I fucking agree.
I have all hope for humanity.
I don't, not with Sleepy Joe, but you go on.
So
Well, you
Victoria, what
gotta
do you think
remember
about
she's
that?
got-
Can they do that, or what do you think?
I do think it's possible. I also, because there is the story of King Solomon who trapped, it's either demons depending on the story or jinn with a seal that was an angelic seal given to him by angels. So I think it's entirely possible you can trap them and get them to do your bidding, but it would take some serious power. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't really want a demon under my control because they're really horrible entities, and I wouldn't want it anywhere near me, to be honest.
But
It's
what
under
if
my
you look
control.
like Will Smith?
Well,
I mean,
I doubt he does. I doubt it does, though. Let's just be honest.
I mean,
Maybe he
like
looks
the
more like Will
angel-
Smith slapping Chris Rock.
The angel would be pretty scary too. Like I don't
Yeah.
like angels are supposed to hate us as well. Like I don't know if I'd want to fuck
only-
with
Angels
her.
don't hate us. Angels don't
Only-
hate us, but they're
only the
powerful.
ones that fell, supposedly, Scott. Only the ones that
We're
fell.
like we're the half children of God. Like I'm not
Yeah,
as a person
we're-
who has 4 half brothers and sisters. Yeah, I don't want them in control.
I'll tell
of
you
me,
what,
son.
I think that if you looked up the biblical description of an angel, it's not like the Hallmark version. I can tell you that.
Oh, God, no.
Bring fucking eyeballs and
6
4
We talked
wings.
about that last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
Brutal.
just because that's a perception that we think of what beauty is or whatever. But if it's,
That was
I mean, if we
described
thought
in the
that was beautiful,
Bible.
that's not gonna be scary or whatever, right? It's what you're perceiving it to be.
Right.
I mean, personally, it's just, I don't know.
It's the feeling. It doesn't matter how it presents, like in a
I mean,
visual. It's the
right.
feeling, and it's all love.
All
and
right,
it's-
well, let me ask Victoria this. That's the question I've been kind of putting in my head for the last half hour.
Hold up.
hour.
Bigfoot
What?
smut coming in. Warning, warning, Bigfoot smut. Bigfoot
Not this
smut.
week, Scott. That's next week, Scott. Come on. But what do you think about the whole Robert Johnson story, though?
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that one.
The blues guitarist who sold his soul to a demon to get amazing playing ability, then mysteriously disappeared.
Honest?
I haven't
Oh,
heard
you know
that
what?
one.
I have actually heard that one.
Uh,
I think it's entirely possible. I mean, these stories keep proliferating for a reason, right? But I mean, that sounds like awful because we don't know what happened to
It's a
him.
bad deal.
He was on our Urban Legends bracket we did on this show at one point and on my show. But I also one of my first guests on my other show too was a man who had seen or heard the devil 3 times, he believes.
Oh wow, that's cool and scary.
In 2 different countries, but still, he believes he saw the devil or a demon. One time he definitely feels like it was 100% the devil, and the first time it was a form of the devil, he believes.
Wow.
And actually in South America, so closer to you.
Well,
In Bolivia, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
possibly.
that's definitely closer to me. Uh-oh.
El Canyon de Tio, look it up.
It's your
Okay,
new
I will.
neighbor. Your new neighbor's the devil.
Oh, no.
No,
That's
I'm
the
joking.
problem.
Well,
No,
in Mexico, you don't know. They practice that Santeria shit. You don't know. Like,
I'm pretty sure he's everywhere, just like good is everywhere as well. So
Don't
what you
practice
choose to
like with.
Santeria.
That Santeria shit freaks me out, dude. Like when I was in Florida, like there were some people that fucking dabbled. Like don't fuck with shit you don't know, right? Like
right? Isn't that the best rule
Fair.
of thumb? Like don't,
Yeah.
just don't mess around with it. It's not a game.
it's kind of how I
exactly.
should take politics. Just
That's
don't
how.
look.
That's why Chris Rock's trying to mess with Will Smith. Just saying.
Right?
You don't
Chris
know he's a
Rock
fucking
mess with Will Smith.
He tried.
He made a joke, dude. Come on now.
You only
Oh,
told
hey.
his wife.
Maybe we should let
Yeah.
Victoria tell us about her upcoming book.
Ooh.
Sure. It's called The Black Hours, Modern Demonic Experiences in Folklore. And yeah, it's going to be a guide that I changed from my thesis into a full-on classification system. So if somebody was having a problem with a demon they believed, they could just check it off. All the different things that maybe have been happening, the more checks you have, the more possible that you have a demonic entity. Just something to help with the confusion, and also to show how much this sort of thing happens in the folklore.
I'm gonna take that checklist on my next date when I start dating.
Be like, he's doing this. Like, that's not
You
good.
have too many check marks. This is not gonna work. Sorry.
You're like, wow, this dude's a demon.
I got a question for you. Like, how do you like preemptively stop a demon from like even getting close? Like, what's your best?
You do what the Winchester did,
Meditate.
Scott.
Meditate. Raise your
Scott, you do what
vibration.
you do what the Winchesters did. You get the freaking tattoo so they can't freaking take your body.
Well, that didn't work. And
You
that's
play a
crazy.
lot of Taylor Swift.
It's not what I've
Oh.
heard. Taylor Swift. That's where they pee their pants and the demons come in. I want to hear from Victoria here. How do we like? You said my sage didn't work.
Well,
Like-
the easiest way is to keep yourself in as much health as you possibly can, to keep your home happy, to keep your areas happy. If that means saging, that's what it means. Sage is just not going to get rid of a demon. They're just a little bit more powerful, but I actually use sage. So it's not like something I'm telling you, no, that's stupid. Never do it. But yeah, keep yourself healthy, like keep your mind clear, whether that means meditation, connecting to a higher power, whatever that really means for you. But yeah, mind, body, spirit, it's all connected.
Well, I'm like a simulation theorist myself. So like, can I just like get some holy water and slap it into the old vein there once a week or something? Or like,
I don't really think it's gonna work, but like, I guess if you get like a really horrible feeling about something, don't go in there. Pretty easy, you know?
that's like my whole
Oh, and
life.
if you're a simulation possibility person, then you know you can't break your programming. There's some teenage kid up there
Yeah, we'll
typing in
debate.
all your
We'll debate
it's like
that,
a
dude.
D&D guy. He's rolling your dice to see what your
We are
attributes
not.
are.
Nope. He's not rolling my dice. I'm a non-player character, and I'm trying to make it to the end of this fucking game.
He's a free guy.
Gotcha. Good
He's
to know.
Ryan Reynolds.
But no, I
He's
mean,
a drunk Ryan Reynolds.
Victoria's right though. Victoria's right. I mean, if you send something as bad, you shouldn't go in there. I mean, I wish I listened to that Max Girlfriends, but you know, it doesn't always work.
Well, what if it's like a job or like your job? Period.
Get a new job.
That's it. If it feels bad, then
Simple enough,
sit.
Scott. If the U-Haul
Listen
seems
to
like
your
it has evil
energy.
presence, if the U-Haul seems like it has evil presence, leave the U-Haul, Scott.
I did 4 years ago. Not there anymore. I got 2 new jobs.
So Victoria, when does the book come out? When will we see it?
It'll come out on Halloween, but I think
Hey.
it's a few days
That's a good
before
date.
that if you get it on Kindle.
Nice.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
And actually, you should. Okay, I actually have another person I need to introduce you to. He runs the Southern Demonology podcast. You two would probably get
Oh.
along great.
I
All
know
right.
JJ.
You know JJ? All right, cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I had him on for an episode. He's a freaking fun guy to have a conversation with.
He's awesome. Yeah, I love talking to him. I think I've been on at least once his podcast. I'm supposed to have him at some point on mine when I figure that out.
Yeah, I know that, Mambo.
He's awesome.
Well, this has been awesome. I love, again, with the old Catholic background there, I love talking about,
You
you
keep
know,
saying Catholic background, Debra, and I keep like trying to picture like the skirt and the freaking button-down shirt and everything.
I went to a Catholic school, like the whole week.
Pictures or didn't happen, Debra. Pictures or didn't happen.
Yeah, that
No,
should be
you're
like Debra at 8 in a
Yeah, I was
Catholic
gonna say
school.
El
That's gonna be
Creepo,
like
like, I
our
was-
logo for the next week.
Yeah, the real problem there is I love a Catholic schoolgirl outfit on someone who's like 25. It doesn't do it for me when it's on someone who's like 10 or 12.
And
Well,
that's,
no,
you
it'd
know,
be the funny. We're gonna make her eyes all black, and she's gonna be the demon, and they're gonna come in here. and
Alice,
they're
sweet
gonna be
Alice.
"Ah, fuck
Oh
it."
my
Well,
goodness.
Bruce,
Anyways.
you're a better man than Joe Biden then, but
I don't like the smell of hair. I really don't.
Anyways, what I was saying was I'm always excited to hear about anything that kind of lends to, you know, in the religious parameters, all of that, because it's just fascinating. It's like what Michael said, it's just fascinating, all these different you know, all these different things that we look at and talk about, and real or not real. I feel like there's, again, I'm such a, you know, I feel energies and stuff. I'm such a believer. So yeah, but it's been really awesome having you on and sharing your experiences with us.
Yeah.
So looking forward
You
to
guys are a
book
lot of
actually
fun.
grab that.
I've been having fun listening to you guys.
Yeah, yeah,
You should have
Yeah.
had a couple drinks. You would have had like a hell of a lot of fun.
yeah.
That's
We're definitely, we're the show where we do a little bit of research, a whole lot of opinions, and a little bit of alcohol, and it's a great mix.
Nice. Okay. Hey, it's fun.
No, but
And
it-
just so you know, at some point in the next couple of years, there will be a demon movie bracket coming out. I already have it made up. I think it's actually multiple parts because
Oh, that would be a good one, yeah.
Well-
yeah, trust me. I was thinking of Scott for a lot of these, including a found footage movie bracket.
fuck yeah, found footage. I want that way in advance because I want to watch all of those.
I told you already, the first one we're doing in October is the first part of the slasher bracket, Scott. So get watching.
I'm not a big slasher.
No, I'm
dude.
not a slasher. Yeah, that's not my thing either.
I want demons like killing people. and
Yeah,
shit.
well, I can only watch one bracket at a time, buddy. There's like 30 something movies in each bracket. It takes a month or two to watch all the damn movies. So
Well,
I
I
Spe-
watched like 5 minutes of this crazy movie today called The Boy. Have you seen this?
fuck
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
movie.
it's on a couple brackets.
That was- I'm not sure.
Did
that
you
was
watch it till
bizarre.
the end?
No.
Yep.
Dude,
What happened?
watch it.
You have
till-
to watch
nope,
it.
Nope,
Yeah.
you have to watch it.
You know, I
dude.
have to. It's really that good. It's worthwhile.
Yeah, it's gonna fucking change your mind about the entire fucking movie.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, trust me. I mean, but then again, Scott thinks the Blair Witch Project's a good movie, so I don't know what to tell you.
I enjoyed
Blair-
the Blair Witch Project.
The
That
Blair
was a-
Witch
I
Project
did
is
too.
Groundbreaking. Come on.
To me, it was terrifying because it's, you
Super
know, it's
cool.
a lot of your imagination in there making things
It's a
even
ripoff
scarier.
of it's a ripoff of the true story of the Bell Witch. It's not based on a real story.
Well, the last 10 minutes I thought were pretty intense.
Yeah,
thought
mean,
that-
I can
that
get- I
whole
can- I can-
movie's fucking
I can
That
get
one
real close
freaked
to
me
the
out.
camera and start panting too, and you think that's intense.
Oh, Deborah, I fucking like added you at the last movie we watched. I think it's day shift and night shift, but it was a vampire movie, and you like the
Ooh.
vampires.
oh, I do like a
Oh.
vampire.
But
Trust,
it was. Did you
What
see
the
it,
hell?
Jeremy?
dude, I've been watching nothing but slash movies for like the last fucking 2 weeks, and before that I was watching all Greek mythology
And it-
movies, so yeah.
It's on
Okay,
Netflix.
wait.
It's like
Okay, so wait a
John
minute.
Wick vampires, dude.
And it's called
On-
Day
Awesome.
Shift?
Night shift. Night
Night
shift.
Shift, okay.
Oh,
good.
yeah, I
On
think I have.
Netflix,
Oh.
on Netflix, if you like vampires, have you guys seen, it's a comedy, but have you seen What We Do in the Shadows?
I love the TV show, yeah.
I
I love the
haven't
fucking
seen
TV
that
show.
one.
God. Yeah, it's hilarious.
The TV show is amazing, and
Yeah.
Deborah, just so you know, the vampire movie bracket has 154 movies in it.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ,
Wow.
that's gonna be like a
That's gonna be like
6
6
hour
hours.
bracket.
No,
That's a long
it's
one.
broken. They're broken into parts. I don't fucking do it. We're not doing that many movies in one fucking bracket. We'll be here till 5 in my time. It's hard enough getting Buckles and Brandy and everybody to fucking
Well,
pay attention.
that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, you're back finally. Why don't we do a big ass bracket next week?
I have one prepared actually that would take no prior watching of anything. So I mean, we could do that.
Well, I'm sure I can get either the Buckles or Cherry. We'll
Hmm.
fucking drag Kayla's ass back on.
No, we don't. But
I'll be in Greece, so you guys have a good time.
Well,
Michael, are you down
everyone,
for it?
including Debra, has to bring, like, we're getting people on here.
Are you talking about the Packy challenge again?
no?
No,
What-
No.
you guys have to get the chips, dude. I went after they stopped selling them.
Well,
And
You said they
got an
stopped
extra
selling them, that
chip.
got me worried. I was like, what? Like,
No,
what's in
no,
them?
no, 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 no. Stop.
They
worrying about
stopped
that
selling them for a
bullshit.
reason.
Right?
It
That's what
had to
I'm
do with
One
thinking.
kid
demonic
died. I've done,
possession.
this is 3rd year in a row, dude. Like,
Cut the
people
feed,
die
Scott.
off of vitamin C.
Scott,
Have you ever
cut
been-
the feed, man? Cut the feed. It's getting way
I think those chips have caused demonic possession.
Yeah, they will.
We've
That's how-
already
that's how
talked
you-
about your gringo
that's how you-
blood.
That's how you fight off demonic possession, is you eat one of those chips. The whatever entity's coming in, you
He's
go,
like, I'm
holy
getting the fuck
fuck,
outta
what is
here."
that?
Well,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
doing,
with you,
Stupid.
Bruce.
we're doing it with the pixelated paranormal. The first year I did it, it was a full-on hour that shit did not stop burning. Like,
Yeah,
intense
no.
for a full hour. Last year it was like 20 minutes. It was a little
That's
bit
20
more
minutes too
intense,
long.
but it was 20 minutes. You could just sit there and like,
So, but why did they
Fucking
stop
get
selling
it.
them? Are they toxic chemical? Why
a
did they
kid
start selling
died. A 14-year-old kid died at school.
Oh, so no.
That's-
That's
Like, come
I think
on,
it makes
dude.
your throat close up,
Yeah,
tighter
I
than
mean,
your
No,
anal
these are
sphincter in a
excuses.
audit.
yeah.
Excuses, dude.
mm.
People die from vitamin C.
Go back to the
OT on
80s
oranges.
and say, who can do a half an ounce of cocaine in a show?
I'll do that with
There we
you
go.
there,
Oh
Bruce.
my goodness.
You supply it, I will
And
do it.
Scott, this
I
is when
could
you get the
probably
feed,
do
buddy.
it, but
Facebook
I would
doesn't
be
need to see
dead.
this part.
Okay,
Facebook
you
doesn't need to see
guys.
this, Scott.
Oh,
And with
yeah,
that,
we
that's a
gotta
wrap.
stop the
Victoria,
live
it's been
stream. Drugs
amazing,
are
amazing
bad,
having you
okay?
on. Yeah, let's
Drugs
thank
are
you
bad.
everybody watching. We'll see you next Sunday for more
Thanks,
of
Victoria.
the same. The
We
like
were all
entertainment.
sober as a mover.
thanks, Victoria.
Thanks for
Drugs
having
are-
me, guys.
Drugs are bad, kids, okay?
Okay.